Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and I'm joined this morning by Lloyd Patrick Jepson for a wee wander round Paradise. And Lloyd, it's the first time you've taken a wander with me.
Yeah.
I wish it was under better circumstances, mate.
I know, by the time you come back on the Acsom as well, after a little hiatus. Yesterday's result wasn't exactly what we would have planned or what we would have wanted, but it's a defeat. Not were we very good in the second half? No, but should the game been finished in the first half? I do think so, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, we know that Brendan Rodgers' record as a Celtic manager at Rugby Park isn't great, but you go into that game at the weekend and I get this sense that there's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde about the Celtic side, right? Now, we can't just tear the whole thing up. We saw a performance here at Celtic Park against Atletico Madrid, which I thought was phenomenal. We got the draw. We've seen a 6-0 win against Aberdeen, but you flipped that on its head. You look at the first half in Perth, you look at that game yesterday, particularly the second half, and it gets me a wee bit concerned that there's two sides to this team, and one of them, if they don't show up, Lloyd, they can be exposed domestically and in Europe.
Yeah, I do believe that. I do think that at the minute the team's not showing much consistency with their performances, because you're getting a good performance like we did in midweek against Hibs, and then you're getting a second half performance, and obviously the first half performance that we got at St Johnstone in Perth and obviously down at Rugby Park. So the team does need to show that bit more consistency. But then does that also come down to the players that we brought in?
It definitely does. And I think that talking about consistency, we need a bit more consistency with the start 11. It's chopping and changing, and I still don't think Brendan Rodgers knows what his strongest start 11 is.
No, I don't think so either.
We talk about consistency of performance, Lloyd, consistency of the starting 11. Between now and the Rangers game on the 30th of December, we've got 4 games.
Yeah.
And within those matches, and I include the Champions League game in it, we need to find our groove. We need to find our strongest 11, and we need to ensure that we build momentum over those 4 games so that when Rangers come here, it's not a case of they beat Celtic and they hit the top of the league. That's not how you want to end the first half of the season.
No, exactly, it's not. You kind of hope on Wednesday night Carter Vickers comes back into that team and shores up that defence a little bit, and obviously we start showing once again that we can perform in Europe, because obviously performances have been there in some Champions League games, especially Atletico Madrid at home. So you've got that to go on. Then obviously Hearts at home in the league as well, where you hope you get Kyogo back firing, because let's be honest, it's good obviously starting low, and he was a bit physical up front yesterday, but Kyogo's your main man, and is it really right benching Kyogo?
See, I've got big concerns about that, Lloyd, because people go on about the fact that we lost 3 starters, and we did. Starfelt, Moy and Jota. We also lost our manager, of course. And if you look at the team lineup at the weekend, we've got players ordinarily, when fit, who would start in Maeda, Abada and Hatate, right?
Yep.
So straight off the bat there, you've lost half a team. Don't add to that by not playing your main man, your talisman, Kyogo, and not playing to his strengths. I was talking to Alan Morrison from Celtic by Numbers in the huddle breakdown. He was talking about the lack of quality passes from Yang and Palma to Kyogo. No wonder he's anonymous. He's not getting the service. We need to return to a shape and a game plan, Lloyd, that plays to Kyogo's strengths. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, 100%, because you can see when Kyogo does start that he does kind of go missing more than what he did before, and he isn't getting that service now than what he did under obviously the Ange Postecoglou Celtic team, but he's still scoring the goals for Celtic, and this is the main thing. We need goals in that team to win games.
When we look at these next games leading up to the Rangers game, Lloyd, I've got big concerns about the defence mainly. I've also got concerns though about the wingers, talking about one of the issues that you mentioned back there. And also, we don't know who the best replacement is for Hatate. So let's start with the defence.
Yep.
There's only so many of the positions you can change. You can't change the goalie because we don't have a sufficient backup.
No, we don't.
You can't actually change the left back because again, Bernaby's not up to the challenge. I look at the left back position and I know that Taylor gets a lot of stick. I'm going to use one example from the weekend. Look at the winning goal for Kilmarnock. Where does it come? Where do they really damage us? Down Taylor's side.
Yeah,
where's Greg Taylor? He's standing up there as a number 10. Right now, I get that Phillips cannot, as a professional footballer, play Kilmarnock on. He's about 4 or 5 yards behind his closest defender. That's terrible. That's unforgivable. But where's Taylor? And we can't replace him because we don't have sufficient quality. at left back. When you look at Phillips, seeing as I've mentioned him, he's an emergency loan. We had to bring somebody in. It's not worked out. We've got games between now and the Rangers game, and then he'll be away back to Liverpool. I wouldn't play him again.
No,
I wouldn't play him again. The question is for me though, Lloyd, if Carter Vickers isn't playing and you're playing Scales on form, you're playing him on form, do you bring in one of our signings from the summer? Do you bring in Nawrocki or Lagerbielke? Because that's £7.5 million worth of player there.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. Well, obviously Nawrocki and Lagerbielke, because you would like to think they're our players. Why once again are we developing other teams' players? Why are we not playing the ones we signed? Are they good enough for the team? Or are they not? So what was the point in bringing them in?
You made a point before we started, or wandered, or donder, as a pal of mine calls it, a donder round paradise. You made the point, you've got £7.5 million of a budget.
Yep.
Go and buy someone of the same calibre as Cameron Carter Vickers.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take the chance. I mean, listen, Lagerbielke, he was awarded for his performances in the defence for his team in Sweden last season, right? He was cited to be one of the best defenders in the Swedish division. So, you know, we've also seen him playing international football since he came to Celtic. We know he can play. Rodgers doesn't fancy him. What is it, a lack of pace?
Maybe, but then you've got to question, what does Brendan see on the training pitch that obviously we don't?
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he's not starting these games.
He's spoken about personality, hasn't he?
Yeah, has personality.
I could go to a training ground and show a bit of personality. People might absolutely look at that and say, no, you couldn't. But you can't play based on personality. We need physicality in there. We need someone who can command the area, Lloyd, who can deal with a cross ball, who is able to ensure that, you know, if your opposition break, that we all play the same line.
Yep.
You don't play two lines with Nat Phillips playing everybody on side. So I think that's a major issue between now and the end of this year, leading into the Rangers game. Brendan Rodgers needs to know who his strongest defence is, and we need to also ensure that Joe Hart becomes more of a commanding presence at the back as well, Lloyd.
Yeah, that's been one of my concerns, because any time Celtic get a set piece or anything, against them, I always think a goal's going to come, because we just can't seem to defend them. Whether it be a corner, a free kick, anything into that box, we just don't seem to defend it.
Yeah, I mean, that's our concerns with the defence. You then look at the midfield. I was looking at the Hibs game, and I thought that Iwata played really well. Not only his own performance, but the fact that he gave a bit of freedom to Matt O'Reilly and Callum McGregor. I thought that was Callum McGregor's best game of the season against Hibs. And then he follows it up with a display where you're thinking to yourself, I'm still not sure who the best defensive mid is at this club. Whilst Hatati's out, we don't know who's the best midfielder. We've seen Holm, Bernardo, Turnbull, Iwata. That's an issue as well.
Yeah, that is a major concern, because I'm starting to get to the point where now, could you actually build a player between the three, all of them?
Well, you look at Turnbull, it's obvious, it's goals.
Yeah, it's goals.
Right, it's goals.
Long shots for Turnbull. Iwata, does he free up McGregor? Yeah, he does free up McGregor, but how many games do you need McGregor freed up in the SPFL?
Yeah.
Because mainly that's our main concern now going forward, because obviously we're out of Europe now. So Holm, we've seen bits and bobs of. Bernardo,
he's an enigma.
Yeah, he has an
Bernardo,
once again, he's
I'm not sure.
on signing. And are we going to develop an on-loan signing again without actually signing him permanently? I don't think so. So once again, it boils back down to the recruitment that we've done in the summer. And this is why, for me, January transfer is so key.
And massive. It's going to be absolutely pivotal. It seems, Lloyd, we can't get through a wander round paradise without talking about recruitment. It's massive, right?
Yeah.
But see, when I look at the summer transfer window, I've got mixed feelings about it. Mixed feelings in that Brendan Rodgers sits at an AGM and says that he signs off every player. He's got to say that, right? I don't disrespect him for it. He can't stand there in front of the board, the directors, and say it was all your fault. I'm not happy with the recruitment team and I'm not happy with my players. He can't say that. So I absolutely understand why he said it. But see, when you're bringing in 9 players, after winning a treble, I don't think you should be bringing in 9 players anyway, because that's a huge part of your squad. That's almost 30% of your squad. And if you bring these players in, and they're not coming in from teams that are used to winning, where the demands are so high that there's a mentality where every single draw, never mind a defeat, is a disaster, then the never say die attitude, I don't think exists. And if that's 30% of your dressing room, 30% of your training pitch, that's a massive concern for me. I don't think we brought in the quality And Brendan Rodgers has started firing arrows at his press conferences to suggest that he's not happy with the quality either.
Well, it's that one word that we keep hearing constantly out of Brendan Rodgers at the minute, and it is quality. We've all demanded it as Celtic supporters. Maybe it's time the board listened to us on that one, that we need the quality in the pitch that we're actually lacking. We lost Jota, we lost Starfelt, we lost Moy. They were 3 quality players. I know they weren't everybody's cup of tea, but you look at what they've done at certain points of last season, and we need someone out of those 9 signings to step up now, because it's going to end up getting to a point where we're going into this Rangers game in a few weeks' time. They're not far behind us, so do we really want to give them a chance to leapfrog us in the league? Because we did have a healthy gap, but now we're causing our own problems.
We are causing our own problems. I go back to everything that Brendan has said in relation to recruitment. He said that he wanted 4 players of quality in the summer, Lloyd. Whoever those 4 players are, if they never had transfers elsewhere, then I think what we do as a football club is we go and get them in the January. Now, I've heard all the arguments about it's difficult in January. Yeah, it is, but I'll tell you what's even more difficult, not winning this league. Yeah. Celtic need to win this league, and we also need to give more of an autonomy to Brendan Rodgers when it comes to buying players. This January transfer window has to be Brendan Rodgers' transfer window. If the last one, through the fact that we were changing managers, had to be put on the recruitment team, I understand why. This one has to come back to Brendan. Now, what else has Acsom been up to, as well as talking about recruitment? Well, next Monday, a week tonight, we will be up at Gracie's in Glasgow. Lloyd will be with me. It's the Acsom Christmas night out, and we'll be joined by the Swedish treble winner, Johan Mjällby. Johan Mjällby, a phenomenal player under Martin O'Neill, will be joining us. We'll be talking to him about both his playing career and his time as part of Neil Lennon's managerial team here at Celtic Park as well. Come and join us. A few tickets available, but be quick because it's under 20 and the ticket link is underneath this video. Just before that, at the weekend, before the Mjällby gig, we will be raising funds all weekend. It's a charity weekender for wee Jamie Tierney. Once again, ticket link underneath this video. We will be able to get maximum points between now and the Rangers game at the end of the month. Keep checking back on Acsom. Come back to us tomorrow at 12:30 for a Celtic State of Mind.